Hi everybody and welcome to the 365 Healthy by Choice Edu Talk series. Today we are taking immunity to the next level, penetrating deeper and into the mysticism of the immune system, in particular the white blood cells. I'm absolutely fascinated when I see the white blood cells under the microscope. They are these formless, boundaryless, membraneless masses of lights, if you like, that move across the screen, and I'm dumbfounded every time I see them. So we're going to be looking at all of that, the aspects of the immune system. We're looking at the hormones effect, we're looking at the neurological effect, we're looking at the nervous system effect on the immunity, and the effect of radiation and the effects of nutrients. And just before we move on, I want to remind you that the 365 Healthy by Choice nutrients are food state. That means exactly as nature intended, which means that the natural intelligence of the plant is there, the innate potential, and the DNA is not being disturbed. And then when these products enter the human body and interact with the innate potential of the human body, this is where the magic happens. This is where we start seeing improvements. We're seeing movements from illness to wellness. And as therapists and practitioners, we can actually sit back knowing that we're giving the body the building blocks to nourish the cell. We're also assisting the cell in detoxification. We're bringing lots of oxygen in. And at the same time, we're then allowing the immunity of the body to flourish and develop, as well as the DNA. Very, very important. So we look holistically at ways of bringing in different frequencies, different electrons, because everything is about electrons, to the body to start healing. We don't guess. We work with a scientific quantum, a scientific consciousness interface operator, which is the quantum, Skia or Reductor, and we look at root causes of disease. We validate them. We're able to track progress, and we realign the body using the quantum bioresonance, using nutrients, using adaptogenic herbs, using paramagnetic rock, magnetism, using alchemical almost gold in the M state liquid gold, and putting this all together in a form including oxygen that is going to restore the body, realign the body. All right, and then, as I said, we track the progress. So this is a holistic approach, bringing in different electrons with different spin. And just remember from science that in the middle of the atom is the proton and the neutron, and then circulating around it are the electrons. The tighter they are and the closer they are to the nucleus and the proton, the higher the frequency. The faster the spin, the higher the frequency. And this is what we're aiming for. This is life force. This is health. This is immunity. This is restoring the scalar wave of the body, restoring the, you can call it the golden mean spiral. And that is what I aim to do. That's what my aim is. I want to restore that DNA, which has the golden mean spiral, and that is anti-aging. Some total bottom line. If we can restore the DNA, restore the natural spin in the body, the scalar wave, we've achieved anti-aging to the best of our abilities. So without further ado, let's move into the immune system. And simplified, it contains the tonsils right here, the first line of defense, the gut and the appendix. It also includes the thymus gland and the spleen and the bone marrow. So bone marrow is responsible for producing stem cells, white blood cells, red blood cells, beta cells, T cells, NKF cells, immunoglobulins. Very, very, very important. Remember that the bone is a living material, living matter. Very often you will see cell hyperplasia in the bone marrow, indicating that the cells are shifting, and the bone is very sensitive to the pH of the blood. So releasing calcium into the blood, and the calcium should be going back into the bone. It won't go back if the acidity is too high, so of the blood. So we've got to look at the bone in that perspective, that it's living. Okay, and there's cells inside it. I mean, even if you can get bone cancer, you know that you can get that there's cells inside the bone. So I'm going to be looking at the bone marrow and all the aspects that work towards stimulating the bone marrow and equipping it to produce all our immune cells. So if we are focusing on the bone marrow in the bone, and that needs to be optimum functioning in order to produce the immunity of the body, we get two kinds of white blood cells, the leukocytes and the phagocytes. And the leukocytes are the ones that alert the immune system to the fact that there are foreign bodies floating around our body. And the phagocytes then is the army, and they go and like a Pac-Man, they go and eat up and swallow up the toxins. Now that is the function of the immune system. If we load it, it ends up doing a whole lot of things that it shouldn't be doing, and not building our immunity, not looking after the DNA of the body, and we start getting degeneration. So let's have a look briefly then at some of the things that load the immune system that we can actually consider root causes, and one by one start sequentially removing them. So one of the big things we all know is environmental toxins, chemicals, food additives, genetically modified foods that come into the body via the breath, the skin, and in our food and in our water. So now these toxins also need to be removed via the liver and all our detox organs. So the liver, the kidney, the gut, the lung, the skin. And if those organs are blocked, remember also the toxins can't get out. So put very simply, what we're aiming to do is nourish the cell and detoxify the cell, nourish the cell, detoxify the cell. And in that way, the immune system can cope, can develop, it can produce the army for us, it can listen to the alert signals to go and ward off the foreign bacteria, viruses, and then basically protect the DNA. So everything has to be in a dynamic equilibrium. The liver needs to be cleaned. The blood needs to be cleaned, because this is how it works, again, simply. And this is the way I put it together. So the body signals the hypothalamus pineal pituitary to release hormones, whether they be the sexual hormones, whether they be liver hormones, whether they be digestive hormones, whether they be adrenal hormones, whether they be thyroid hormones, pancreatic hormones. They need to be released by the hypothalamus, but the hypothalamus needs to be receive the signal from the body. And if the liver's blocked and the blood's blocked, the signal isn't going to get there. So we need to have enough a clean system in order for those signals to reach the hypothalamus. But that's not all, because if the hypothalamus is clogged and blocked, let's say there's plaque from heated carbohydrates, there's parasites, there's aluminium, there's mercury, and all sorts of unwanted toxins, if you like, in the brain, in the hypothalamus, it then also won't release the hormones. And also, if it doesn't have the building block proteins. So very, very important when I'm talking about nourishing the cells, we need to bring in these building block proteins. So I would say step one, when we're looking at immunities, is that liver clean? Is it working optimally? Is it metabolizing what it should? Is it removing what it should? Is the blood clean? And this is where we can have a field day. And on one of the next Edu Talks, we're going to be talking about the live blood analysis and bright field, dark field, and also dry blood. And this is where I think people have the biggest wake-up call ever, because we can talk about from a blood test. We can say, look, your cholesterol's high, the calcium's high, the hemoglobin's low, the white blood cells are low. Doesn't really mean anything to anyone. It doesn't really resonate on a deep cellular level. When they see their blood on the screen and they see the little parasites moving and they see the globules of fat and they see the fibrin strands in the blood, and they see pieces of nicotine in the blood, and they see all the debris and the cholesterol crystals and the protoplasts, the huge globules of plastic and chemicals that the body doesn't know what to do with, they get quite a big shock, and they realize that their blood needs to be cleaned and cleansed. And if there's stress, of course, the red blood cells are all stuck together, and that means the oxygen carrying capacity and the ability to bring food as well as oxygen to the cells is limited. And it also means a breeding ground for parasites like the virus and also because the white blood cells can't get inside and do what they need to do. So somebody who's not well, who's got a low frequency, a low resonance if you like, has got tiny white blood cells, the size of red blood cells, and in fact they should be 4 times the size. So we can, as I say, have a really field day on the blood, and it's undisputed that our blood needs to be cleaned. And so that would be my next step. Clean the liver, clean the blood. And this is also where the Chinese got it right, because they talk about the chi of the body, the energy fields. And if those two are blocked, your energy fields are really low. Then moving to the hypothalamus, we look at the male and the female hormone balance. So it's the liver cleanse, and then it's the blood cleanse. This blood cleanse also has Chancapiedra in it, a herb that decalcifies the inside of the vessel walls and the brain and the kidneys, the liver, the prostate, and any bone area where there's calcification, calcium buildup. And I'm bringing that in now because in the male and the female hormone balance, which is a neuroendocrine boost, we have specific products in here to bring in the building block proteins, which are essential for us to have the wherewithal to produce neurotransmitters, enzymes, normal hormones. Those proteins are found in high frequency foods, which we have in our stress defense shield and our brain fuel. Here's the brain fuel. So these products, over 30 nutrient dense foods and herbs in here, they bring in the building block proteins that are deficient in all of our diets because we're not eating these foods. And all we need to think about really is the ancient Aztecs who built these huge bodies with spirulina and hemp seed. Okay, and they were warriors, so they weren't actually just completely only peace-loving. They actually were able to be warriors too. So these foods have to come into the equation. We have to bring in the nutrients to give the hypothalamus the ability and the body really to produce these hormones and release them. And we need to clean this hypothalamus. The Chancapiedra will clean the plaque. All right, the parasite cleansers, the limes, golds, the oxygen, the ormus will come in and clear away the parasites and the heavy metals. So we've cleaned the liver, we've cleaned the blood, now we've cleaned the hypothalamus, and we've given the building blocks. So now that normal hormonal cascade can come into place, because in the hormone boost we've got the chasteberries, the tribulises, we've got magnolia bark, we've got all bee pollen, we've got all the building block proteins, we've got a maca root, we've got raw cacao, we've got foti, the adaptogenic herbs, we've got saw palmito, mucuna, all the building block foods that are going to make these proteins for us. And now we start coming down the immunity cascade, which then leads to the liver, where leads to the kidney, where the kidney is then instructed, receives the signal from the hypothalamus to instruct the bone marrow to produce stem cells, white blood cells, red blood cells, beta cells, T cells, NK cells. And that's how that happens. So when there's a bone marrow problem, we've got to go back to the kidney, back to the hypothalamus, back to the blood, back to the liver in a very simplified way. But it works because once we start doing that, it's quite extraordinary. Any ski or doctor therapist who's validating the response of a patient will see that the levels start falling into place. Absolutely naturally, miraculously, if you like. So we've got to bring the kidney cleanse in, make sure the kidney can work properly. Also in the kidney cleanse, we have Chancapiedra. Remember, that's going to be removing the stones. And if there's protein buildup, I will add my RNA, DNA replica product, and that is going to, the two products together will then cleanse the kidney. And basically this combination, the liver, the kidney, the RNA, DNA, will help any dialysis patient. More on that another time. All right, so now we're sitting with the bone marrow. We're giving the body the ability. And remember now, the bone marrow, these are all slow processes. Well, the kidney and the liver the kidney might take a bit longer. The liver could clean in a month, depending how how dirty it is or how compromised it is. The hypothalamus in about a month as well. And the bone in the bone marrow, that can also improve quite quickly. But now we also got a patient who's really compromised and the immune system's really, really low. Let's say they have symptoms of COVID-19 and we need to do something very quickly. This is where we bring in the big guns. Now I'm talking about Almost Gold, and I'm talking about the product I did mention just now, the RNA DNA. All right. Now if we want instant results, instant improvements on the SCIO and the bioresonance of a person, this is what you need to do. You can look at it before. You can take 2 teaspoons of the liquid gold. It's gold, silver, copper, all the platinum, precious metal minerals. And then a few minutes later, you can take another bioresonance reading and you will see that there's been improvement. You will see on the microscope the white blood cells come to life. The red blood cells stand apart with the zeta potential, indicating the cellular pattern throughout the body. Almost Gold works immediately. You can see it on the white blood cells. Okay, it starts improving the immune system because it starts cleaning the body. It crosses the blood-brain barrier and will start then clearing the brain. And in fact, that's what the ancient wise sages used almost for a long time ago, actually to clean and to get clarity of thought, which is a good product to be taking now when I think we need to be quite introspective with the COVID virus around. Then what the Lynn McTaggart has shown us is that the Almost Gold allows the DNA strand to unwind. And remember, with radiation and toxins and the rate at which cells divide, the chances of something going wrong are high. And we get SNPs and we get not the right perfect DNA helix happening, we get degeneration. So if it's unraveling, it gives it a chance to ravel up in more of a perfect state. But the question here is, with an adenine joining a guanine, a cytosine joining a thymine, those are the proteins in the DNA strand, and the protein in the RNA strand is the uracil. If they're missing, the adenine will not be able to join because there's a protein missing anyway. So here comes the 5 RNA, DNA, nucleoproteins, which are based specifically to come in as a building block and help the DNA strand further with division and to repair. And remember that the virus comes into the cell through the cell membrane and starts encoding the DNA of the cell. So if we're going to bring in building blocks that are going to prevent this and help our DNA further and our immunity further, we've got a bit of a trump card here. And this is where I bring this product in. This product is made of bacterial cell wall fragments that are coded with the RNA and the DNA proteins. Absolutely perfect. Our ancestors used to eat a lot of brain and kidney and lungs and hearts and stuff. So those organs are high in RNA and DNA, and that goes to show you that also what RNA DNA replica is going to do in the organs. So those organs are naturally high in RNA DNA, but we don't eat that really. Marmite you'll find quite a lot in, but not nearly enough. This is what I'm saying to you. We've got to get to the stage where we understand that some of these essential nutrients are not found in our normal diet, no matter how organic, no matter how certified it is. We have to bring these in because we're not getting them. And I've seen the results. So this is what we need to follow. All right. So what I've taken you through is a bit of a cascade. And I've got one more product that I've developed. And this is the Activa stem cells. This contains the 5 top adult stem cell forming foods: blue-green algae, lion's mane, cordyceps, raw jelly, and foti. And these have been shown to produce adult stem cells. I can validate it with my SCIO, and that's all I really need, because I can see that the body is starting to rejuvenate. I can see on the live blood analysis, I can see what's happening to the immune system. I can see what's happening with the red blood cells. So this is a whole array, a very holistic array of a way and an opportunity to use different things depending on the reading from the patient to restore health and to ward off infections really. So that whole infection story results around building antibodies. So we need exposure to parasites, we need exposure to fungi, bacteria, viruses in order to form the antibodies. But now, that's fine, so long as we've got a strong immunity. If we do have that, the antibodies get formed and we're fine. If we, however, have a very compromised immune system, that doesn't happen. If we don't have the proteins to build the immune system, if we don't have enzymes in the body, if we don't have, if the liver's dirty, if the blood's dirty, if the hypothalamus is blocked, it's not going to happen. And then we're going to get more sick. And usually in the immunocompromised people, you already find there already are diseases. There's already a co-hosting of a whole lot of organisms already there. So what happens is when an immunocompromised person gets hit with an unknown strange virus, it's very difficult to form the antibodies and they do get very sick. And this is what we're trying to prevent. Prevention is better than waiting for when it's too late. And that is my 365 motto, if you like. It's where I resonate from. We have to look and be conscious of our health 365 days a year. And we need to focus on prevention and build up this immune system. We have got a toolkit here that's made in heaven, if you like. And it's validated and it works. And none of these things are going to interfere with current medications that you're on, anything on a religious level, anything on a spiritual level, and whatever. They're going to clean you and nourish your cells and boost your immune system and let the DNA flourish. And I mean, that's an ideal that we're aiming for. So in order to allow this to happen, as I said in the beginning, we also want to make sure that we've detoxed the body and got rid of some others of these toxins. And I've got an all clear product here, which I developed specifically for electromagnetic frequencies, halogens, fluorine, bromine, chlorines, insecticides, and also a little bit of parasites as well, and the chemicals and the environmental toxins. So this can be used therapeutically. You can take 2 capsules 3 times a day if you want, finish the bottle, and then go on to 2 capsules a day maintenance. And the heavy metals will come out, you can validate it. And it won't be a huge stress to the body because the herbs inside here know exactly which cells to target. They target the low resonating frequencies, which are the low electron spin type of products, which are the ones that make us sick. So we've got a great item there. We've got a microbiome reset, which is a live probiotic. And if you want to have a look at something beautiful under a microscope, there's 2 things. It's this microbiome reset and it's almost gold. There are lights that just scoot around the slide in front of you. It is too beautiful. It just looks like a galaxy. So this I've seen under the microscope, too beautiful, 80 to 120 live strains. And you can't get that in any manufactured product. This is the brood in the microbial cloud that's for the soil, the plants, animals, and ourselves. And I think people know that we live in a microbial cloud right now. They also know that 90% of us is microbial and 99% of our DNA is microbial. 1% is only ours. So let's fill our body with the right effective, beneficial bacteria, fungi, and yeasts. Another great product for detox, and I've mentioned that the all clear will look at radiation because I'm moving to radiation now. I've mentioned also that the microbiome reset will do the heavy metals, scavenge pathogens, reset the radiation, reset the body, reset the gut flora, and we all know about the gut and the brain. Then we've also got a zeolite paramagnetic rock. It's from rock from the volcanoes. This one here is double activated. It's called Zeolite 8 Detox. And this paramagnetic substance is because it's double activated, the octagonal shape, the 8-sided shape is very, very active, and it will draw in a magnetic way the toxins out of the body. And as they hit the gut and the intestines, grab hold of them, and it won't let them get reabsorbed. It'll grab the uric acid too in gouty people. So this is one definitely a definite in my toolkit. You can take about a teaspoon at night before you sleep, and this just gets on with the job. As the liver secretes in the early hours of the morning, it grabs the toxins for us, and on a daily basis as well. So we need to just set up this stress defense shield, is what I call it, which is one of the names of the product. So we have an insurance against infection. And another one that's very important for radiation and also hormones and immunity is iodine. So this is an amino acid chelated iodine. I also have kelp, which has got natural iodine and obviously lots of proteins in it as well. And I find lots of iodine deficiency. And in the very sick people that have got loads of parasites, bacteria, fungi, and yeast inside where they're co-hosting a lot, you'll find a very low level of iodine. So we like to bring the iodine in specifically. And also, if you take some doses of iodine and you look at the live blood before and afterwards, you will be amazed at how the red blood cells are moving across the screen. You will be absolutely amazed at what iodine could do. And let me just clear something up as well. Many people say they are allergic to iodine, sensitive to iodine. That's an interesting thought, because what iodine does is it kicks the bromine and the fluorine and the chlorine off the receptor site. Actually, hold on a minute. Chlorella will kick it off the site, and the iodine comes in and binds it. So when that happens, you start getting circulating bromine and fluorine and stuff in the body. And that is what causes the sensitive reaction. It's got to go somewhere. It'll come out the skin, could make someone feel nauseous, and all those iodine symptoms. It's not actually the iodine. It's actually the effect of the iodine, the effect of the chlorella, right? So what we do there with those people is we simply open up a capsule, sprinkle a little bit onto their lemon water in the morning, and we slowly increase the number of sprinkles that we're putting on until they're taking 1 capsule a day. And that's perfect. And there's lots of research to show very high doses of iodine can actually be taken, and it would be a build-up. And it's a big, big reset and a big detox as well. So we've got iodine in our armor too. Now, being the practical person that I am, of course, I don't stop there. When we're looking at radiation, we all do know that it's a frequency that's not symbiotic with the normal human wavelength. So the biological wavelength will be like that. When you come in with the toxin or radiation, especially, the frequencies are like that, and that also damages the DNA, damages the cells, the nucleus, and the chromosomes. So I developed and brought in earthing mats. If you come to my practice, you will see I'm barefoot, and that is because I'm advertising the fact that people need to get on the ground. We need to be grounded. Why? Because the earth is negative. Listen up, this is easy. When the earth is charged as negative and we're sitting in a positive space with pathogens, viruses, toxins, mercury, lack of sleep, processed food, genetic disturbances, we're in a positive state. And any effective nutrient, adaptogenic herb, humus, microbiome reset, zeolite will target the wrongly charged material in the body, let's say. But there's one thing further, because if we get on the earth, we will be able to trump radiation and also ward off parasites and heavy metals and things joining us, staying in the body. So I developed these earthing mats. And I'm just getting the one off here to show you. Now what we're using here is an anti-static mat with a little clip over there. And I'm going to show you what we do with it. Right. We connect it to a plug, and this is the South African plug. It is only a plug attached to the top, the earthing part of the plug. The two parts of the plug that draw electricity are not connected at all. There's one wire that's going through to the top here. It doesn't matter if the plug is on or off. What happens is by plugging in, you plug into the earthing of the building. And that earthing frequency will give you what they call Sherman's resonance, which is exactly earth energy. Right, and that is going to block and ward off electromagnetic frequencies and also shield us against the wrongly charged material in our body. So this is an extension cord. It's 2 meters long, and you connect it as simply as that. This is a splitter. It's a 2-in-1 pack, actually. You can see there's 2 little holes there. So it goes into the mat, okay? And then you can come along and you can bring your one of the pieces that come with it. This is typically used in a situation where you want to use two people in one, because I've got this, and then it's got a little wrist earth mat. I'm going to show you now. So there's the mat for the wrist. So you can actually wear this, and you can have another person attached to the mat. So you have a 2-in-1. So inside this little splitter, we will put the other clip. So I've got a clip that's attached to the wrist, and I've got another little clip that's attached to the earthing mat, right? So we have two options here. I like to use the earthing mat when I sleep. Every night my body's touching it. How do I know it works? Because you take a voltmeter, you see the needle moving like this, you literally take your little pinky finger, touch the mat, and you will see the voltage move to 0. Absolutely beautiful every single time. So that for me is amazing, because then I know I'm earthed. So when I sleep, I'm earthed. When I'm driving my car, I'm earthed. Because how do I do it? I take my wrist mat, I put the crocodile clip back on, I open it, and I put it on the metal clip underneath my seat, which is attached to the earthing of the battery of the car, and I drive. And any electromagnetic frequencies in my car, other people's cell phones from next door, GPS, etc., etc., etc. I've built a shield around myself. Okay, so we use it in the car, we use it in our bed, we use it alongside our computer. So long as our wrist or our hand or one little pinky finger is touching this mat, we're going to go to 0 voltage. So they come in 3 sizes, small, medium, and large, just to show you that. And the sleeping arrangement would look like this. And you've got 4 meters there. Some people put a probe directly into the earth. You can do that too. But this is quick and easy. Now you might say to me, well, how do we know that the earthing is working in a building? So we do have what they call an earth leakage circuit breaker test. And this little device has got little lights, and it shows you, the instructions are here, which will tell you whether in fact that building is earthed or not. So that's really amazing for the scientists out there, because you can make sure that your building and your plugs are earthed. So, you know, this is a story that I've looked at, and the aspect I've taken to look at immunity. From the immune system to feeding the immune system to the whole cascade that ends up with white blood cells, the immunoglobulins, beta T and NKF cells, stem cells being produced in the body. The last thing that I haven't spoken about is the effect of stress on the nervous system and toxins. So fatty pieces will accumulate on the nervous system, toxins will accumulate, we will get fibromyalgia, which is really, really, really sore nervous system parts, and this is going, any stress, anything causing stress on the body will cause a rise in cortisol and adrenaline. And these two substances have a negative effect on the hypothalamus, pituitary, and pineal. Okay, so even though we're feeding the hypothalamus and cleaning it, if we have too much stress, it's also, the cortisol and adrenaline are also going to block the release in that cascade. So stress adaptogens are very, very important, and that's where I bring in my stress defense shield and my brain fuel with over 30 nutrient-dense foods and herbs in. And that takes care of it. There's adaptogenic herbs in there, there's protein building blocks, there's long-chain sugars. The brain needs long-chain sugars, not the short-chain sweet ones. The long-chain ones, they're not sweet. In the algae, in the medicinal mushrooms, in the bee pollens. So you can hear me repeating and repeating and repeating certain foods. Certain foods just do absolutely wonderful things. And why not swap those items in our shopping basket for the French fries, the acidic wheat bread that's full of plastic and all sorts of GMO soya, the GMO soya corn, the cakes, the biscuits, the meat that's full of nitrites. Why don't we actually swap that and choose something that's really quality as opposed to quantity? So I hope that I've given you a nice overview. It's probably a lot to digest, so you can replay and please text me. And And with the COVID virus around, I have developed a box. I think most of you have seen it already, but just to show you, an all-in-one box. This is the treatment one, and it's got the microbiome reset in it. It's got the Almost Gold in it. It's got the RNA DNA in it. It's got my cell oxygen drops in it, and it's also got the Lime's Gold. So this is when you definitely have the symptoms. This is the symptoms box, and I also have a prevention box. And then just to cap it all, I've got a really nice handbag spray, and this has got this is a disinfectant, not a sanitizer, and in larger sizes as well. This is all on the website, all on the online website, different sizes of the different sprays, 200, 150 and 100. And yeah, so we can definitely spray away those